Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Nate Manahan. I'm live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and this is the High Five. Today, it's just me. I didn't bring any other of my co-hosts, and that means probably not as good of a show, but we're going to try some new things over the next couple of weeks with the content that comes live every morning out of the Paper Tech team as we do the High Five, and we're going to do some times where it's just me with some other guests. Danny and Brian are going to be with us. In fact, they'll be back tomorrow, so don't worry about it. We're coming in. I pushed it to Facebook from YouTube. It's only live streaming on YouTube, but that means I can see your comments if you happen to be watching live as we're doing this. All of this is going to be an interesting little experience and a little bit of an experiment because that's what we do. When we're trying to win, we're trying to figure out how to make things work, we do experiments. We keep trying. We keep figuring out new things. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about today. 5 ways that I'm seeing people win when they're engaging with their customers and their pre-customers and they're out there making sales. 5 ways to engage in this new post-COVID world. Yes, I said post-COVID because we're moving on. It doesn't have us anymore. Join me on the High Five on the other side.
The time has come, the questions are set, opinions hide, discussions are led, a show about nothing and everything, it's all the same. We've got sports, entertainment, sales, and marketing. It's time for the High Five. We've got it all covered. It's time for the High Five. We've got it all covered, yeah. The High Five.
All right, here we go. Now, I took my headphones off because I don't have anybody else to listen to except for the sweet sounds of my own voice. And we're going to talk about 5 ways that you can get engagement. See, Gary Vee and others who may follow Gary Vee and others, we will say a lot of times that the things that you're really looking for is attention. You're trying to get attention. Marketing and sales all starts by grabbing someone's attention. I totally agree with that. We are in the market of someone's attention. It could be watching Netflix. They could be cruising on Facebook, going to Instagram. They could be in their store talking to their customers or talking to you. And what you really want them to do is give you attention. But I say that it's more than attention because attention just simply means they hear the words. What I'm looking for is engagement. I want them to hear the words and do something with the words, to engage, to give me some type of response. And so these are 5 things that I have just thought of over the last couple of days, and we'll be doing more of this, that I see people who are being extremely successful at being able to create engagement in this world where there is so much attention seeking. Did you know that we've seen an increase of people streaming? The Instagram lives are huge. Everybody's doing it. Facebook lives, everybody's doing it. There's all these times and people are watching more internet and more time on the internet than ever before. But right now, what we know is they don't always engage. They don't comment. In fact, right now, what I know is I'm looking down here, I've got 18 people watching in a couple different spots, whether on Twitter, on my personal Facebook, or on YouTube. Or if you clicked over to YouTube from the Paper Tech pages on the My Paper Tech group or the page, we know that you have engaged with us in some way just by watching. But right now, no one has commented to that I can see. There are a couple places where you could comment that I couldn't see it right now until I jump in later on my computer and things like that. But what I really want is engagement. I want you to respond to me. I want you to interact with me. So the first thing I have to do is grab your attention, keep it, get you to listen, but then I want you to do something. So we're going to go through 5 things, as we do, High Five, that we're going to try to walk through and see that, hey, let's see if we can get a little bit of engagement, because that's with the ultimate in sales. That's the ultimate in marketing. When we see people actually engage and start to go down that funnel and start to actually make a commitment to you. Because that first step is simply, I don't like you, I don't agree, I disagree. We want some type of engagement. So here are 5 ways. Number 1, video messages. Now, this is the age of Zoom. If I hear Zoom one more time, I've been using Zoom in versions of white labeled Zoom for I think 7 years. This was not new to me. I've loved Zoom. I jumped off of GoToMeeting because it died a slow death to me. And it's gotten better and a little more stable since LogMeIn purchased them. And I like Boston startups and tech companies. And WebEx, still owned by Cisco, has done a great job of doing things. And if you haven't used BlueJeans, that's a great product. And I've used every video messaging product there is. I'm streaming live to you via my basement on a Sony a6400. I love to do video. I believe in video streaming. But you know what I believe even more? Look at the picture I used here when I said video messages. I believe more it's about the one-on-one video message that you send to potential clients calling out their name. So what do I mean by that? It means some of you have probably seen me do this. I'm holding in my hand a little whiteboard that I use a lot of times, and I will write things on the whiteboard just as I'm starting out the video so that I can create a thumbnail, and I have software, and we'll talk about that in a second, and I will write and do this little thing and make sure that people can see exactly who I am talking to. And I use some different services. We use Drift Video here. We are a Drift shop here at PaperOtech. And a lot of you who may be part of the PaperOtech team have gotten a Drift Video from me or from Danny or Mike or other people on our team who are using it. And we're trying to get more involvement with that. And the thing I love about using a Drift Video, I've used Loom Video, there's Bonjour, there's Boeing, there's a couple other products out there. I think I have if you go to Product Hunt and type video messaging, you'll see a whole, I think there's about 15 in the space. And what they do is you can quickly record the video either natively on their capture through their web interface, or you capture it on your phone and you upload, and then they create a way for you to embed it and send it to another person so that you can capture and see exactly when they engage. Because that first engagement is getting their attention by them watching it, and you see exactly how much they watch. What I love about Drift Video, I love this about Loom, is I get an immediate alert. This person watched 52% of the video. This person watched 12% of the video. And in Drift and Loom, and I think Bonjour may do this, though I haven't seen this, they put a little call to action in. In Drift, I'm trying to get you to engage. And so if I put a little video together, put a little GIF with that little whiteboard together, you click on it, you start seeing the video, and I'm immediately chatting, and I can get an alert right on my phone, on my mobile devices, on my computer saying you are watching this. And that is so important for me to be able to engage with you when you're engaging. And I think one of the best ways to get engagement with future customers, with current customers, is to show your face. Make a video, get on camera, and go to them. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Doesn't mean you have to be polished. It means you have to get over the fear of hearing yourself talk and not seeing yourself on camera. And I know that is a hard thing. Being uniquely you. One of the people I follow is a person named Luria Petrucci, and she runs a company called Livestream Pros, and she says, you are uniquely you. They've trademarked that, so I want to make sure I give them credit for that. And Luria always says, just be yourself. Just allow yourself to speak. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to business sales, B2C, business to consumer sales, when you're going direct to consumer, no matter what, they still most of the time want to buy from a person. And they will buy from a person before they will buy from a company. And so a lot of times, if you can show your face, if you can create that interaction, and when we talk about engagement, you're able to track that a lot more when you send a video message and then a quick little email. Sure, you can put trackers on the email, and you can do embeds, and you can read opens, and you can use a MailChimp, or you can use ConvertKit or ActionSoft, or you can use HubSpot or whatever you may choose to use and read the opens and do all kinds of little spyware on that. But I love a good video because I know I'm talking directly one-on-one. And these are not what I'm doing right now. We'll talk about what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a live to YouTube, a live to Facebook, a live to Instagram. If I was doing that, I'm not right now. But what I am talking about is doing a personal message to another person. So my challenge is start without an app. You don't have to use a Drift Video, which you can do, I think, for like $9 a month. You don't have to use Loom, which will give you a 30-day free trial. I think it is right now. Bonjour, I didn't look it up. That's Bonjoro, Bonjoro. Just type that, Google that video. I forget their domain. I should have brought that up, but I haven't used them in a while. But I do know I get some videos. But this sets you apart right now. In 2 years, 3 years, this will be the way to do messages. Because it's quick, it's easy, it keeps you concise, and I love the little call to actions that you can do with it to be able to get people to say, hey, click on this link right after the email, watch this video, or chat with me, what Drift is doing. There's several unique ways and little hitches to be able to get people to engage them. And that is why I say video messages is one of the greatest ways to be able to do engagement. Number 2. Let's talk PR. Okay, this is not my strong suit, but I've been listening to some people, and it's something I want to try, and I'm looking for some of our sales partners that may be interested in trying it. I'm looking for some ways that people may be interested in, if you've tried something like this, is doing traditional PR. And what do I mean by that? Well, PR is public relations, but really I call it press relations, where you're actually interacting with people who are writing articles, whether it be independent blogs, public blogs that are owned by companies, whether it's local newspapers, local news media sites, and you're interacting and reaching out, and you're actually getting on the phone and saying, hey, I have a story for you. So in our industry at PayProTech, what we would say is this: we have a story. We've been seeing all these stories out there about merchants adding COVID-19 surcharges. So not to cover credit card costs, which is something we do, where we say, hey, let's charge a different price for cash as we do for credit, and let's create a way for the customers to cover a little bit of the cost, and let's share in this. Yes, it's got a cost to use that plastic. There are a lot of people and little hands in the pocket, but let's get that down to as little as possible. But they're actually just adding a fee. Instead of raising all their prices, they're just saying, hey, I'm going to charge an extra $6 for the next 3 months because of the extra cost of my PPE equipment or whatever else they may be saying. And in that conversation, what you would do is you'd say, okay, I'm going to call up a local, smaller, you're not calling the New York Times, you're not calling the Washington Post, you're not trying to get picked up by AP, but you're simply calling the local newspaper. Maybe it's the local news, and you're saying, I've got a story for you. Let me tell you about a story about how we're helping merchants. Merchants are currently paying somewhere between 1.5 and 4% of their payments back to the processing companies, the cards, the banks. You don't even have to say yourself, because you make the smallest amount if you're part of our PayProTech. The others are making the most of the amount. We're the smallest piece of that pie. And what we're providing a way for that to do is for them to be able to absorb some of those costs by passing it on to the customers by charging a different price for cash than you do for non-cash prices. And there's a way to think that. And so you pitch out, and so you don't send out a press release. That you certainly can. We've sent out some press releases about the EDGE program over the time, but you're not sending a press release. You're reaching out, and how do you find these? Well, you go and search local newspapers, and you find those who are having an online service, and you just find the person that is a journalist that's covering the local beat. Someone who goes to the local commissioners' articles, someone who's writing those local interest stories that are probably more popular around, somebody who's writing the articles who are just trying to, and they're having to write articles every day, and they're writing blog posts, and they're telling personal interest stories and human interest stories, and you're reaching out to them and saying, I have one about you. And one of the great ones is, if you can set up, for PayProTech, if you're one of our partners, if you can set up one of your merchants with EDGE pricing, and they set it up, they're using their Pay Anywhere, they're using their Paradise, and then you call up a local and say, hey, we have a new customer. This is a way for them, as they come out of this COVID crisis, for them to be able to add a little more to their revenue and allow their customers to help them by covering some of their costs when it comes to their credit card processing. No credit card processing is free. MasterCard, Visa, American Express, they're going to get their money. The banks are going to get their money. We're going to make our very small little portion for making it all possible. But at the same time, the customers now can come together and we can work together. And you pitch that story to a local. Make it a human interest story, that they can come to a local restaurant, they can come to a local retailer, see the equipment, see the experience, and then actually tell the story of how you came in and helped them be able to save on their credit card processing to add $300, $500, $1,000, $2,000, depending on the size of the local and small and medium business, to be able to help them during this time of need. Tell the story. PR. It's something we don't think about a lot of times because we think, hey, we can just go to Facebook, YouTube. This is not. No, you're going directly and calling a local news reporter. A lot of times they're not even paid. A lot of times they get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 views, but they're the people that are collecting those stories. And then when they write the story, boom, positive story about a local merchant who works with you as a local salesperson who has a good experience and then is doing something unique to be able to help during this COVID crisis. And then you can share that through Facebook. You can share that through YouTube. If it's a print piece, you take a picture of it and you share it throughout your social media. You print it out and take it and deliver it to all your new prospects. But you use PR as a way to create engagement. And you say, hey, this is a great way to get people to start hearing the story and start thinking, how could they work with you? All right, let's keep going here. Number 3. Here, this is what I'm doing and have been doing now, I think 58 different days. We have been going live daily at PayProTech. We don't get a ton of viewers always right up front, but we every day see about 1,000 people view our stuff, and that's great for us. We're not in the deals of, we're not going direct to merchants. We're not trying to get to the 250,000 new merchants we want to sign up. We are simply trying to engage with people that want to sell our products. But if you want to do video, you can do the personal one-on-one video messaging. That was the first one I mentioned. You can connect with PR. That's unique, and I would love to hear some stories, and I'm here to help you. And if you engage with me, just email me at nmanahan@payprotech.com. I will help you do that. But number 3 is just go live daily. Choose a platform, whether it's Facebook Live and just your personal Facebook Live, or I would encourage Instagram is extremely popular right now, and going live through the Instagram stories, and actually just start going live. And you say, I don't want to do that. I don't have anything to say. I'm going to stumble over my words. Let me just tell you something. You're going to stink the first couple times you do this. It's a little weird to stand in front of a camera talking to the lens, and whether you're doing it in the phone. So a couple tips. Don't hold your phone. You can do that, but grab a little tripod. Go to Amazon and search phone tripod for about $8. You can get one shipped to you in a couple of days. It used to be next day. Now it takes a little bit longer. They're catching up and getting all that done. But go live daily. Allow people to think, and just think about a topic you're going to talk about. Maybe you're going to talk about a unique way you've seen restaurants helping and serving through curbside, or a way that retailers have gone online during this time, or a way that a local taxi service is helping people move. And maybe it can be telling the stories of your clients and your customers. Perfect. Or just things that catch you. Just go live and start talking. I did a series a couple weeks ago where I was just going on the internet, finding Facebook stories about restaurants that are doing cool things. Never been there. Most of them not in my city. And I called them restaurant heroes, and I just started talking about their stories. I had never been there, never met them. All I'd done is followed what people were commenting on their Facebook page, and just started telling their stories and creating commentary about it. And just start going live. Why live? Why not produced? Here's the thing. Produced videos are awesome. YouTube stars are amazing. Production makes great art. But the problem is it never gets finished for most of us. For me, I have a bunch of ideas that are sitting on my notepad to my left right now that I do not have done because I haven't been able to finish them, and I don't get them fully done. And so it depends on your personality. But for me, when I hit this live button, which I've done right now, and I'm being forced, I know this is going to be on the internet, and I can't get it down without you possibly seeing it. And I can't take it down. It forces me to think through what I'm going to say and keep going. And I can't just chicken out. Now, I'm not going to be as good as I am tomorrow and the next day and the next time I do. And every time I get a little bit better. And that's part of the reason we're trying some of these things. I've been doing it with Brian and Danny, and that's a crutch at times because I know that I can ask them a question, get off the video and rethink, listen to what they're saying and rethink how I'm going to lead in the conversation. That is one skill. This is a skill where I'm talking directly to you, and I am telling you things about today, 5 ways that I've thought about engagement, and I'm being forced to be ready, prepared, and think through my thoughts and do it live. I realize it's hard. It is difficult. It's putting yourself out there. But ladies and gentlemen, it is a risk that we all should be taking. You should be going live every day in some format, whether it's on your PayProtech page or not your personal business page, your personal page, whether it's on Instagram. Heck, use Periscope, however you want to do it. You should be going live. Absolutely do that. All right, number 4, going through. These are ones that I've been thinking and dreaming about here, and I've been watching, email is not dead. And if you are focusing on a niche in some ways, and remember, it's Pat Flynn and others, I don't know who originally says it, but the riches are in the niches. It's finding those little things that you can do and driving down and getting into the little pieces. The riches are in the niches. You can start an email newsletter. Why an email newsletter? Because email is not dead. I'm going to do a series on other things that aren't dead, like text messages and Facebook Messenger and things. But I think if you have an email newsletter, I've been thinking about this, and I've had this idea for a while, and I haven't executed on it. And I have a lot of ideas I don't execute on, and frustrating, But I read Inside.com. I read, I think 6 or 7 newsletters from them, probably nearly every day. I get at least 3 or 4 every day. And I subscribe to Inside Sales, Inside Marketing. I subscribe to Inside Software. I just have regular Inside News. And Inside's just sending me email newsletters where they're curating information. They're writing a little bit of original content, but really what they're doing, providing a little bit of commentary and mostly just linking out to the news stories of the day, depending on what subject you're applying and using. I love what if you're selling to restaurants, if you're selling to dry cleaners, if you're selling to lawyers, dentists, if you're selling to chiropractors, if you're selling to fitness gyms, if you're whatever the business that you're selling to, create a simple, easy newsletter that you send out at least once a week and say, could I subscribe to this newsletter? Then when your first engagement with them is, hey, I would just say, hey, do you mind if I have your email? I send out this newsletter. In fact, here it is. I want to show it to you if you're in a person engagement. Or hey, I'm going to forward this to you, or you screen share it and through your lives that you were doing. And you say, I share these things. And it's the 4 ways that dry cleaners can serve their customers every week. I come up with 4 different ways. Or I am telling the story of ways that people are doing pay at the table and unique ways to do it by scanning QR codes to be able to get to menus and being able to work with their web services. Maybe in this day and age, maybe you create a newsletter on ways to use PPE, the personal protection equipment, to be able to help your customers and your employees to be able to do that. And you create a simple newsletter that you just say, I'm going to do at least once a week. Some may go to daily. I've seen some people that are saying, hey, I'm going to do this daily and I'm going to do it. And you go to tinyletter.com. That's a great one. One of the guys, Tyler Dashowitz, he created one that's called Dude Notes, and he just sends emails, and it's I know women do subscribe to it. It's mostly, but it's things that men may be interested in. And it's faith-based, and it talks about it. But you go to tinyletter.com, you can do it. It's really simple. It's cheap. People can subscribe. It's really easy, simple face. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to have a lot of graphics. In fact, a lot might be even better if it doesn't. But you want to be engaging. And you want to be able to get people to read, because it's not, are we only getting their attention where their eyeballs hit our eyeballs or their eyeballs hit our image that we've put in front of them, but we want them to start thinking, doing, and acting on what we're saying and what we're putting in front of them. And so not only do we want to do video messages where we're calling that and doing that in a personal message, not only do we want to be able to create a opportunity for whether it's, like go through these, the PR and being able to news pieces, whether it's going live daily. But I think these email newsletters are going to be huge when it comes to the time and opportunity for us to engage with people. And that's one of the things I'm playing with. So the main thing I do for a lot of times is we're doing recruitment. A lot of our partners at Papertech, their first interaction with Papertech was through me, through a video, through an email. Maybe it was saying they see things that I'm writing and doing. And I've thought about creating an email newsletter just on payments. And we haven't done it yet, but it's still trickling into my mind. And as I was putting this list together, I'm like, man, I really need to do that. I just need to figure out how to execute it. But you can't, again, one of the things I want to, not again, I didn't say this, you can't do all 5 of these. Choose one that resonates with you, and you may add several of these. But you start with one, then you move, because if you're like me and my personality, I have lots of ideas. Execution is where I struggle, and so I have to keep taking steps back. Hold that idea out there. I don't want to forget it, but I'm not going to execute on it because I'm focusing on those other things right now. And here is a last thing that I think is an interesting thing to be able to engage with your customers. I would be interested in hearing how a monthly challenge. See, I see this in health. I'm helping my sister and brother-in-law start a health. Sorry about that. I went to Brian and Danny's camera that I usually use, where I'm bringing in their streams. But one of the things I've seen is people doing these 30 and 31 day challenges, these monthly challenges, and you create. So what if you created a monthly? It could even be just a week challenge to do something in the industry you're reaching for. If you're really good at reaching out to dentists, then let's do a monthly challenge for ways to create new messaging every day to your customers. Because one of the things dentists and orthodontists are struggling with right now is that they can't have people in their waiting rooms. They're not interacting with their customers quite as often. People are forgetting a lot more appointments because they're busier. They're at home. You would think it'd be easier, but they're having to stagger the appointments. People aren't answering the phone. And I've been hearing and talking to some people that are working with dentists and orthodontists, including my personal orthodontist, not mine, but my kids' orthodontist. And they are having a hard time keeping people, because like for our orthodontist, we have to pull up, we call, we say, hey, we're out here. They say, okay, great. We'll call you when we're ready for you. And the chair is open. And then you can walk right in. You get in the chair, you walk out, and they call the next person in. But it's a whole process. And so they've started sending us personalized emails. What if you did a challenge, say, hey, let's work together, and we're going to work over 7 days to create 7 different emails that you could send to your customers, to your clients, that you could use, customize it to yourself, to reach and engage with your dentist, with your patients. Okay. And I'm just thinking through, what can we do? So we do these health challenges where we say 31 days, we're going to eat vegan, we're going to eat green, we're going to drink a green smoothie. But what challenge could you give the merchant base that you're trying to reach out? If you're focusing on gyms, maybe you do, hey, let's create 10 Facebook posts together of things that you could post together. So one day you focus on how you do a video post. And I don't know, we'd have to dream through these, but I was thinking through these 5 ways. Monthly challenges. If you can get 10 people to commit to do a challenge with you and they're not your customers yet, it's a great way for you to engage with them. You just create a quick private Facebook group where they can jump in, and then you can message back and forth, and you can create ideas, and you can say, hey, we're going for 10 days. I'm going to put a prompt about something that's relevant to the business and the industry that you're focusing on, and then we're going to engage with it for 10 days in a row, 30 days in a row, whatever those are. Start probably smaller and then go longer. I haven't seen this done in the business world quite as much. I see this certainly done because I watch, like, a Michael Hyatt will say 7 days to focus, and he'll send me a daily inspirational email about how I can stay focused for 7 days. Of course, I got to stay enough focused to actually read the email that he sends me. Maybe it's you send an email for 7 days in a row, and it's a 7-day challenge. Maybe I've watched, if you've seen Entrepreneurs on Fire, John Lee Dumas, JLD. He has been doing these challenges several times. I've seen where you're doing a challenge to try to create engagement. And so you think through, okay, what are different types of challenges? So if you're interested in doing that, I'd love to talk to you, because I'd love to kind of brainstorm, because I'm interested in seeing what this is doing. So let's do a quick review. The 5 things I think. Number 1, using a Loom, a Drift Video, a Bonjoro. There are others out there. Go to producthunt.com, search video messages, and you'll find all these softwares sending personalized one-on-one videos instead of emails, instead of voicemails to people. That's number 1. Number 2, let's call up the smaller reporters that are covering local interest stories and tell them about a story of merchants who are actually setting up something. So something that's unique about you that you're setting up, whether it's, hey, we're putting in free placement hardware, hey, we're putting in new opportunities with edge pricing, whatever that is, calling them and telling them you have a personal interest story. And it doesn't take much. When you get them on the phone, and I've done this a few times, you just get them on the phone and you simply say, hey, I have a really interesting story that's a personal interest story that I think would be engaging about how small and medium businesses are fighting to survive during this time. They want to tell those stories. Number 3. Go to number 3. Go live daily. I don't care how it is, whether it's only 30 seconds, 40 minutes, or it's like myself who's going 20 to 30 minutes daily, sometimes 45 minutes daily, and just going live. And I just keep talking and talking in this microphone until your ears bleed. And then I immediately go to the editing field and we start breaking it up into little segments and send it out so you guys all see this. But you go live daily. It's the responsibility to go live daily. Grab not only attention, but try to get engagement. And you do that by doing it regularly. Pat Flynn, one of the guys, Smart Passive Income, that I've followed for a long time, he's been going live. He calls it 11 o'clock Eastern. I think it's 8 o'clock Pacific out of San Diego every day. And he's been doing it through this whole pandemic. And he calls it his quarantine, and they work together to do that. And I think it's a great way to get engagement, to build family, and to start seeing people engage with you. Number 4, we said start an email newsletter. Whatever the niche is, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be 3 topics a week that you send out, but you're sending out something around the merchants that you're doing. You may eventually have several of these. I know a couple customers, they have ones that are just focused on just CPAs and how they can streamline their services. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be original thoughts to you. It's just curated. You're saving them time from going to Google. You go to Google, put it together, and you send them an email, and you're looking for that engagement. What things are valuable to them and to their industry, whether you're reaching out to CPAs or you're reaching out to gym owners or you're reaching out to restaurant owners. Every industry has newsletters that'll help them and curate the news stories that are around them, or just simply going to Google News and finding out what those news stories are. Maybe you just are telling good interest stories. And you could tie the newsletter to the live video that we just mentioned. There's tons of ideas to go through. All right. And then lastly, a monthly challenge or a weekly challenge. I shouldn't have said monthly probably, but the fact that you could do a challenge of some type to do 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, you build up to it, but we're going to work on something together for a period of time, be able to create a private Facebook group and grow this and just say, we just want to provide value. We see all these groups in LinkedIn. We see all these, it could be a private LinkedIn group too, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever the community is. And you're saying, hey, let's engage together and take the next 7 days to do this challenge, whatever that is relevant to the industry you're trying to reach out. So there's 5 ways that I've been thinking through that you can create engagement. Those are 5 things that are probably maybe not being used quite as much as other places. Some are old things like the PR. People have been doing that for years, but I think we've missed it. And there's a need for it more than ever because their local news is so important to us today and people are seeing it. And it's what drives a huge amount of traffic. You can see that Facebook and Twitter and all are trying to go in. In fact, they're trying to buy in networks, trying to figure out how do they get into that local news because they know how important that is to keeping people engaged on their platforms. We're seeing that video is still the king. It's powerful, excuse me, and it's needed and necessary. And again, what I said as I started out, we are in a war for attention, but the battle that we want to win today is to get people engaged, to get them to respond. It's a battle for engagement and getting that next step, whether it's like, dislike, some type of emotion with something you're putting out there. And in this day and age where we can't always walk in door to door, or if we do walk in, we're going to walk in out of respect with a face mask in and walking in, we're not going to be able to shake their hands. We have to look for other ways to stand out. And some of those ways are through the things we just talked about. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the High Five. I'm Nate Manahan. Let me bring up the High Five music. I can't even hear it. Let me put the headphones on so I know what it is. I'm live every day here, live on the YouTube, live on Facebook. You can catch us. In fact, I'm working on next week. We're going to have an alert system because we're not always going live exactly at 10 a.m. It's a little bit just depending how the schedules go. But we are going live, and what we're going to do is create a way for you to sign up so you can get an alert so you know that in 10 minutes we are going live and you can know where we're going to be. I encourage you to join us on YouTube, but you can join us anywhere else. This has been the High Five. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow with Danny and Brian.